Servus and welcome. I'm Vera at Spilled Coffee Crafts, and today we make another dive into the dye pot. Today I want to show you how I dye with rust solution, how I prepare my rust solution, how I dye, and what the result is. The result you can already see here. So these are some examples, and let's dive into it. Enjoy! The very first thing we need for rust dyeing is our rust solution. And it has been quite some time that I made my last solution. So let me look it up how this is done. This by any means is my book of magic, Vera's book of craft magic. So where I make notes for things that I want to remember related to dyeing. Yeah. So what does it say? Real rust solution. Iron parts in a jar. Okay. We have iron parts. We have a jar. And yeah, this was already used for rust dyeing or for getting a rust solution, so it's already quite stained. And it was strawberry jam. Okay, what do we need? 2 parts water, 1 part vinegar. Okay, that's it. Easy, right? Okay, we have our jar. We have our iron parts. And I give you a closer look. Oh, they are grungy. When I started my first rust solution, they didn't look like this. Some of them had a little bit of rust on them. The others, like a few of these washers, didn't have any rust. This was the washers like you buy them in a shop, in a hardware shop, right? So it's good if there is already some rust on it, but it's not 100% necessary. And they will get better and better with each time you do this. So now we have our iron parts in our jar. Exciting, right? And now, what did it say? 2 parts water, 1 part vinegar. Okay. I want the iron parts at least covered. But usually I want to have a little bit more of the rust solution. So I could fill up this jar, which is also not necessary. This is quite potent stuff, so you don't need so much. And once we are applying it to our pieces, so our paper, our masterboards, whatever, we spray it on with a spray bottle. So we don't use that much. So I would say, okay, here's my just normal vinegar that you would use in the kitchen. And I put in, let me see. What I do is that because my iron parts, the jar is big enough, can you see that? And now I put in the vinegar, and the iron parts are kind of beneath the surface. So some of them peek still out. So, and when we look, so it's, you can't see it. I put my finger here and then I tip the glass jar. So my vinegar goes until here. So this is about an inch. No, not even. No, that's not an inch. Yeah, maybe. Okay, and now we fill in water. Oh, I need something to help me with this. So, because I will spill water everywhere without the tool. Okay, and now, and this is not a precise science. So if you think this is about a little bit more, because so that's it. Okay. And I put on the lid so it's safe for me to show. The water is now, oh, sorry, is now here. So the vinegar was about here. Can you see this? The vinegar was about here, and the water line is now about here. So it's roughly 1 part vinegar, 2 parts water. And don't make it a science. It's not necessary. And that's it. Put on the lid and let this sit for a few days. So mostly 2 to 3 days are enough, but this can sit as long as you want. I had glasses like this sitting for months in my shelf until I wanted to have rust solution for dye something, and that's fine. So 2 to 3 days at least. More doesn't hurt. So my rust solution has been sitting for a few days. This particular one, I think, was sitting quite some while, but I'm going to decant it now in a spray bottle, which I only use for my rust solution. You see how dyed it already is. And there is also some residue in there. I could wash it out, but also the plastic is already, so it wouldn't come clear completely, even if I rinse it out. But I don't rinse it out because, yeah, I want stuff in there. Okay, so here we go. And make sure to protect your surface you're working on. If it's glass, of course, it's fine. But with my cutting mat, for example, this rust solution will dye your cutting mat permanently. So even if there are only a few sprinkles of it and you wipe it off immediately, it will leave an imprint. So this is quite potent solution. So, and I'm just, and I don't know if you can really see it. So it's quite clear on the top, but then it gets darker in the bottom, and it also looks like there is some more residue in there, but that's all fine. Okay, at least with my spray bottle, I never have any problem with clogging it up or something like this. So, and here are the bits that we put in there for getting the rust. And it's not a problem. This has been sitting quite a while, and it's already looking like rust and like a dye solution. But if you have only sitting this for, let's say, 2 or 3 days, which is fine, it will look pretty much not really clear, but not as like a dye solution like this did when we decanted it. And that's fine, because the real rust process will start once we spritz everything on the paper. So once air get to it, this has been sitting some time, so also air had time to work, the oxygen in the air had time to work into all of this stuff. This is why this was already dark. But even if it doesn't look dark, don't be, there's nothing wrong with your solution. It will get rusty once we spritz it on paper or whatever you want to dye with it. So also fabric, whatever. So, and now let's use this stuff. And now, as we made or prepared our rust solution, we need something that we need to rust dye with our rust solution, or as I say, let's grunge it up. So, where I use these things the most are for grunging up my masterboards. You are already familiar with this one. This is my masterboard, notebook, whatever. We played a round of masterboard roulette in here. Only a short time ago. Was this it? No. What is it? Oh, this was our masterboard design. Oh, was it not? Yeah, I think so. Yes, I have my marker here. So we can already do this. You're already familiar with this one. So just remove the masterboard from the book. And oh, in this case, there's quite some glue. So yeah, I'm rough with these books. I don't care. And I take out this because usually they are quite thick. So, and they're getting thicker and thicker with each masterboard I'm making them. So I need to remove some pages anyway. So I'm not at all precious. This is a gluing page or whatever I want to do with it. Okay, we can lose this one. And now here's the masterboard. This is the thing that I want to grunge up with my rust solution. So, and for any means, if you want, go ahead, take your spray bottle, spray it. But be aware, two things. First, if you don't like the smell of vinegar, do it outside, because the smell of vinegar, there is 1/3 of vinegar in this solution. So you will smell it. And if you don't want to have it in your craft room, do it outside. The other things is, of course, this is potent dyeing solution and it will go everywhere with the spray bottle. If you are careful and or there are surfaces you don't care around you, that's fine. For me, I do something different. Give me a second. So that's the contraption I use when I splatter things. I hope this goes well with the handheld camera here. So you see, this is just a cardboard box. Yeah, from a mailbox, more or less, that is a little bit sturdier than usually. And I glued it together. It's just the box itself, the bottom and the top part, and I glued them together like this, so it forms kind of a enclosed environment. Let's say it like this. There is just a piece of plastic in there, and this is what I use. I call it my splatter box. This is what I use when I splatter things, when I rust dye with the spray bottle, with whatever, so the stuff doesn't go anywhere, everywhere. So, and I just place whatever I want to splatter or spray in here, and I will put you back to the camera stand. Give me a second, please. And we are back. So now I changed nothing. This is the masterboard that we want to grunge up with our rust solution. And I put it in there and I use my spray bottle with the rust solution. Oh, I just filled it so it doesn't. Come on. I just told you I never have a problem with this clogging up. Ah, here we go. This is just because it's really completely newly filled. You watched me filling it. Okay, so here we go. I need to adjust my nozzle. Now we have a nice spray. Yeah, and that's all what we are doing. And as you can see, the solution is quite light, but the color of the rust color will come when air is when this solution is exposed to air. So the oxygen in the air turns this into rust. So this doesn't look like much now, but once this is drying, it will have a nice grunge. And you can repeat this process again and again until it has the color that you want and the deepness, the darkness of the color and the grunge that you want. For now, there is nothing more to do. If I have more than one piece, which I usually have, I would transfer this now to a surface where this can dry, and I let it air dry. So, because air is an important factor here. So there is no point in now drying this with an hair dryer or a heating tool, because we need the exposure to air, or more or less to oxygen. So that's it. I pull you back in once this is dry, and we have a look how this is looking then. There is also a second variation of this, which starts exactly as the other did. We spray our masterboard. To show you this, I pulled out the second masterboard from my notebook, and we spray it, and then we take some coffee, instant coffee. And you would think, yeah, coffee is brown, this is more rusty brown. Yeah, what's the difference? But it makes a big difference. So if you take a few grains of the instant coffee and put it on, and I do this only on this half of the masterboard, so you can better see what happens. And at first, this looks like just it would with water. But once this is going and the rust is working its magic, you will see this looks now brown, just like the coffee, but it's starting now. Do you see this? This is no longer brown. So the combination of the rust, and I put some more rust water in here. Oh, now you can see it. The combination of the rust with the instant coffee or other coffee. You could also have leftover coffee from your breakfast or whatever and spray it on. And the combination makes a gray color. So if it's very intense, it could go nearly to black, but usually it is a variation of gray, which is beautiful. And I have no explanation what the magic behind this is. There are some chemists out there that know what's happening here. I just know that this is gorgeous. The combination of coffee or instant coffee with the rust is my all-time favorite for grunging up things. Yeah, I will also leave this for air dry, so the rust can work its magic together with the oxygen in the air. And I will show this together with the other one we just made once this is dry. My masterboards are dry now, and I wanted to show you the result. And what I also did for a better comparison, so you can see better how the rust solution dyes your papers. I pulled out another masterboard from my notebook, or I didn't pull it out, I just show it. That's quite similar to the one that we sprayed with the rust solution. So you have here the direct comparison. This is the unchanged masterboard with all the papers as I glued them down, which is already a nice masterboard with all the old vintage papers. And here is the grunged up result that we did with the rust solution. You can see here was a pool of rust water that dried, and you can see, yeah, that in general it darkened down and had this nice rust color now. Gorgeous result here. We're also with all these different papers. The rust solution is soaking in differently and makes really nice patterning, and in general is a very good color and an alternative to coffee dyeing or also tea dyeing. So that's it. Of course, you could also do a second or third round of rust dyeing here now on this masterboard and even get a darker color. For me, this would be fine. It has now a really nice old vintage look with nice variation, and I only let this dry. So there is nothing really coming up. A little bit maybe, but you really need to rub hard to get something off. So there is really not a big difference. It's really within the paper. So it's not that this will come off easily if you use this in your journal or for ephemera in a journal. So the second masterboard that we did also with the coffee, this is the result. And oh, isn't this gorgeous? I love this effect so much. So here is the area where we sprinkled a few grains of instant coffee into the rust solution. And here you get this really, really nice, grungy, grayish area where these two dyeing materials interfered with each another. Here, this is mainly, it was a very light one, so you also can see this is only the rust, also gives a nice darker color. There is rust, nothing's coming off. But this is another level, right? What we also get, can you see this? This is really, I'm trying to get this. Can you hear it? This is really a grain of the instant coffee that got wet with the rust solution, but didn't dissolve. So you get really texture with this also, and this doesn't come off easily. And it has really a glittery sheen to it. I can't get it on the camera, I'm sorry. But this is really also, it happens occasionally. And you see, it doesn't come off. It's really, and it is really like a bead on there. That's really cool. Yeah, that's that. And additionally, I wanted to show you a few papers so you really can see the difference between coffee dyeing and rust dyeing. So this is a paper, just both sheets are just normal copy paper. This is one sprayed and dyed with rust solution, and this is one sprayed and dyed with coffee solution. So this is the color difference. With this one, you also see here this, can you see it? This grayish purplish areas. And this is where I use the same plastic sheet for putting down when I spray my papers. And there was still some dried rust solution on the plastic sheet when I put the paper on it and sprayed it with the coffee, and then you get also this intermingling of these both dyeing medias, which is such a gorgeous effect. Can you see it? And also with this one, this is just normal coffee dyed paper. So here you have the direct result without any interfering with a different medium. This is the rust dye, this is the coffee in a lighter version here. And here also is one last sheet where we have this interference between coffee and rust solution. I hope you enjoyed this dive into rust dyeing. And I see you in a bit. Bye!